To secure a complex digital ecosystem, an organization must grant extensive, uninhibited access to a select cadre of individuals. External firewalls and perimeter defenses lose their utility when attackers bypass them entirely by compromising authorized identities. This chart compares the frequency and financial impact of different insider threats. While accidental negligence causes the highest volume of incidents, compromised insiders drive the highest average cost per incident, reaching nearly $779,000. This financial damage scales aggressively because the malicious insider operates with authorized knowledge. They know where the organization's most sensitive data, its crown jewels, reside, and they have the administrative credentials to reach them. Today's most potent corporate threat resides within the network, operating with the clearance of a highly vetted defender. The Department of Justice explicitly demonstrated this risk with the federal prosecution of 3 American citizens, Ryan Goldberg, Kevin Martin, and Angelo Martino. These men possessed elite professional pedigrees, working as established incident response managers and ransomware negotiators for prominent cybersecurity firms, Signia and Digital Mint. Organizations contracted these firms to navigate extortion demands and secure computer systems against advanced threats. Instead, these individuals used their specialized skills to attack the specific networks they were hired to protect. Operating as domestic affiliates for the Alpha V/Black Cat ransomware syndicate, they executed multi-million-dollar double extortion attacks against U.S. critical infrastructure, including pharmaceutical companies and medical device manufacturers. The Alpha V indictments expose a severe fiduciary blind spot, where reliance on a vendor's professional reputation or standard compliance audits can lead to a fatal security failure. Both Signia and Digital Mint operated under rigorous security environments, verified by SOC 2. SOC 2 is a standardized auditing procedure designed to ensure third-party service providers securely manage client data. Yet these static compliance audits failed to detect the rogue experts. The failure lies in the operational reality of the job. Incident responders require unfettered, God-level administrative privileges across all client systems to effectively hunt for deeply embedded threats. Security systems often deploy user and entity behavior analytics, or UEBA. UEBA is a process that relies on establishing a baseline of normal network activity to flag anomalies. Sophisticated attackers evade detection by living off the land, a tactic where they utilize legitimate administrative tools already present on the network to conduct their reconnaissance. For an incident responder, extracting large data sets for forensic analysis and querying server directories is their baseline behavior. Their legitimate workflow perfectly mimics the reconnaissance phase of a ransomware attack. Clearing event logs and pulling volatile memory dumps is standard practice for eradicating malware. When a rogue responder executes these same actions to cover their tracks, automated alarms remain silent as they bypass a firewall. During high-stakes emergency engagements, standard role-based access controls are routinely suspended or expanded to give these superusers the reach they need to contain a breach. Role-based access controls restrict network privileges based on a person's specific job function. When an expert's core job function mandates expansive network access, compliance audits merely verify that this access is a known business requirement. The audit cannot detect the malicious intent behind the keystrokes. The abuse of this trusted access extends into the strategic mechanics of cyber extortion. Kevin Martin and Angelo Martino operated within the financial and psychological theater of ransomware negotiation at Digital Mint. Martino obtained a highly restricted affiliate account directly with the Black Cat network. He used this account to personally deploy the encryption payload against specific corporate targets. Between May and November 2023, the syndicate breached at least 5 distinct organizations across the United States, stealing highly sensitive data and crippling business operations. In a profound conflict of interest, those 5 victims hired Digital Mint to manage the crisis. Unaware of the internal corruption, Digital Mint management assigned Martino to act as the lead ransomware negotiator for the victims. This positioned Martino to exploit intense information asymmetry. Information asymmetry is a condition where one party in a transaction possesses more material knowledge than the other. Martino knew the victims' internal cyber insurance limits, their negotiation strategies, and their maximum financial pain points. He weaponized this insider knowledge to manipulate the victims into paying the maximum extortion demands, negotiating ransom payments on behalf of the victims against himself. Assigning a single vendor to handle both threat monitoring and crisis negotiation creates a catastrophic concentration of power. Without independent oversight, this structure invites extreme extortion. Technical access explains how the attacks succeeded, but behavioral science explains why highly vetted professionals abandon their ethical mandates to commit federal crimes. This diagram illustrates the critical pathway to insider risk, a psychological model developed by intelligence agencies to track how trusted personnel pivot to sabotage. The pathway begins when predisposing psychological traits are activated by environmental catalysts, such as severe financial duress, a toxic organizational culture, or intense professional disgruntlement. This friction leads to the normalization of deviance. The insider rationalizes their escalating misconduct, like minor policy violations or unauthorized data queries, as justified retribution or necessary self-preservation. Background checks only capture a snapshot of a person's history at the time of hiring. Mitigating insider risk requires continuous behavioral evaluation to catch these psychological red flags long before technical boundaries are crossed. To survive the apex insider, organizations must move away from trust-based vendor relationships and implement rigorous, verifiable internal controls. This graphic maps traditional pillars of internal financial control established by the Committee of Sponsoring Organizations directly to cybersecurity. A core principle is the segregation of duties. Like an accountant unable to authorize and reconcile payments alone, no single IT user should control entire digital workflows. This diagram outlines a zero-trust vendor verification architecture, preventing supply chain betrayal. External connections route through a verification gateway, mandating just-in-time privileged access management, granting vendors temporary authenticated permissions. The ultimate failsafe relies on immutable worm backups, write once, read many, preventing data modification. These backups must be physically and logically air-gapped from the network segments the vendor is authorized to access. This ensures that no single vendor employee can alter or delete the organization's recovery data, effectively neutralizing a ransomware kill shot. A robust zero-trust architecture physically and logically assumes compromise. It structurally ensures that third-party expertise cannot be weaponized against the host. The Black Cat indictments carry immediate boardroom implications. Driven by stringent new Securities and Exchange Commission disclosure mandates, corporate liability for third-party risk is expanding. Under the evolving Caremark doctrine, a board of directors that fails to implement controls specifically designed to monitor its cybersecurity vendors faces severe legal exposure. The Caremark doctrine is a legal precedent establishing that corporate directors can be held personally liable for failing to implement adequate oversight systems. Ignorance of the insider threat within the digital supply chain is no longer a defensible corporate governance position. Modern fiduciary duty therefore requires boards of directors to implement technical systems specifically designed to watch the watchers.